Welcome to AI Unraveled, your daily briefing on the real-world business impact of AI. Today, the scale of the AI revolution is no longer measured in millions, but in trillions. We have seismic shifts in corporate governance, market cap, and physical world deployment. In the headlines, Nvidia officially became the first $5 trillion company on the back of partnership blitzes, and chip sales eyeing $500 billion. This historic market cap is funding the infrastructure for tomorrow. Uber and Nvidia are now building a massive 100,000-unit robotaxi fleet, while the first truly consumer humanoid robot is here. At the enterprise level, OpenAI just completed a major corporate overhaul and revised Microsoft terms, confirming the new governance structure at the top. The tech giants are showing the returns. Alphabet posted its first ever $100 billion quarter on cloud and YouTube strength, and we'll show you how Trading Desk's LLM macro parsers repriced global risk instantly after the Fed cuts rates again. Plus, we cover GitHub launching a hub for multiple AI coding agents, and Adobe going big on AI for creatives at Max. But before we unravel the details, a crucial message for the enterprise builders listening. Stop marketing to the general public. Talk to enterprise AI builders. Your platform solves the hardest challenge in tech, getting secure, compliant AI into production at scale. But are you reaching the right 1%? AI Unraveled is the single destination for senior enterprise leaders, CTOs, VPs of engineering, and MLOPs heads who need production-ready solutions like yours. They tune in for deep, uncompromised technical insight. We have reserved a limited number of mid-roll ad spots for companies focused on high-stakes, governed AI infrastructure. This is not spray and pray advertising. It is a direct line to your most valuable buyers. Don't wait for your competition to claim the remaining airtime. Secure your high-impact package immediately. Secure your mid-roll spot here. Link in show notes. If you value this strategic insight, please like and subscribe to AI Unraveled wherever you listen. Now, let's unravel today's AI news.
Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over the stack of sources, and honestly, reading through them, it covers just one 24-hour period, October 29th, 2025. But it feels less like a day and more like, I don't know, a decade of change crammed into one moment.
It really does. It felt like an AI blitz, didn't it? The sheer density was something else. You had Nvidia hitting this unbelievable financial milestone, OpenAI finalizing that really complex corporate shift they'd been working on.
Right.
And then, boom, consumer-ready humanoid robots basically walking out into the spotlight.
Yeah.
All in the same news cycle.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, so let's try and unpack this. Our mission today, I think, has to be cutting through that sheer speed, right? We need to distill the really key decisions, make sense of these, frankly, mind-boggling numbers, and figure out not just what happened on that specific day, but maybe why it matters going forward. You know, for businesses, for consumers, especially when we look at infrastructure, software, and now even physical AI.
Absolutely. And to get a handle on that speed, you really have to start where the money and power are concentrating, the market leaders. The numbers we saw, they're not just records. They sort of redefine what industrial scale even means now.
Okay, let's start there then. The biggest headline, you can't miss it, Nvidia. First company ever to hit a $5 trillion market capitalization. I mean, the number itself is just staggering. But what does it actually signal structurally?
Well, the $5 trillion is the headline, yeah. But the real story is the underlying control, the leverage they have over this entire technological shift. Jensen Huang, the CEO, he laid out projections. Something like $500 billion in revenue just from their next chip generations, Blackwell and Rubin, expected through 2026.
And Blackwell and Rubin, just to remind everyone, these are the absolute cutting-edge processors for training and running these huge AI models, right? The engines, basically.
Exactly. They're the undisputed workhorses. And this isn't just pie-in-the-sky projection either. The sources point to actual anticipated orders, like 20 million units of these latest chips shipping out. Plus, they locked down contracts for 7 new U.S. government supercomputers. We're talking over 100,000 Blackwell GPUs just for those systems. That's serious volume.
Okay, but with that kind of meteoric rise, you immediately hear the whispers, right? The bubble talk. The stock's gone vertical since late 2022. Are analysts right to worry? Is the market enthusiasm maybe getting ahead of the actual deployed utility right now?
It's a totally valid concern, and you definitely hear it. The skeptics are pointing to that exponential curve and saying, hold on. Is a $500 billion revenue projection really solid when so much this AI infrastructure is still being built out, not fully utilized yet?
Is it just faith at this point?
Well, Nvidia's counterargument isn't just the sales figures, so those are impressive. It's also about the ecosystem they're building. They're investing heavily to ensure everyone's locked into their CA software stack.
Ah, the software layer.
Precisely. Look at that $1 billion investment in Nokia, for example. Nokia is pivoting, and Nvidia wants to be the core of that telecom transformation. They're making sure that any major industry touching AI becomes dependent, not just on their chips, but their whole software platform.
So the argument is that the ecosystem lock-in, that deep integration, justifies the valuation more than just the hardware sales alone.
I think that's their play, yes. It's about embedding themselves so deeply that switching becomes almost unthinkable. That justifies much higher premium.
Okay, that context helps explain the valuation frenzy. Let's shift gears then from market cap to corporate structure. OpenAI and Microsoft, they finalized their new arrangement. This feels like some serious legal and corporate engineering, maybe driven by, well, by the prospect of AGI.
Absolutely. I mean, legal maneuvering here is often overlooked, but it's crucial. OpenAI finally completed that transition to a public benefit corporation. This was really pushed by all the internal turmoil and external pressure, right? The need to prioritize safety and governance as AI gets more powerful.
And the money flow changed quite a bit, didn't it? The numbers are dense, but what's the bottom line?
Okay, the key outcome is this. The original nonprofit part, the OpenAI Foundation, now holds a massive chunk of equity, about $130 billion worth. And importantly, it's directing $25 billion of that specifically towards things like health research and what they're calling AI resilience infrastructure.
So basically, the nonprofit side is now incredibly well-funded to focus purely on the societal side effects and safety nets for future AI. What about Microsoft's piece of the pie?
Their ownership stake actually dropped a bit, percentage-wise. Went from around 32.5% down to about 27%. But given OpenAI's overall valuation bump, that remaining stake is still worth a fortune, roughly $135 billion.
So valuation strong, percentages down slightly. What fundamentally changed in how they operate together? What are the new rules of engagement?
Control. That's the big change. They've put in stricter guardrails, specifically around AGI. There's now an independent expert panel that has to verify any claims that they've actually achieved artificial general intelligence.
Okay, that's significant. An outside check.
A huge check.
Yeah.
Microsoft also keeps its rights to the underlying tech through 2032, even if AGI is declared before then. But, and this is key, OpenAI gained more flexibility. Yes, they committed to that enormous $250 billion Azure compute spend.
Which is staggering in itself.
Right. But now, they actually have the option to buy compute power from other providers too. And significantly, both OpenAI and Microsoft can now pursue AGI development with other partners if they choose. It's a very complex deal designed to manage near-term needs while trying to put some safety boundaries around the long-term future.
Okay, so we've got governance trying to catch up in the data centers. But what about when this intelligence leaves the server racks, when it actually starts moving around in the real world? This is where, for me, it gets really interesting. AI hitting the streets, literally. Autonomous transport first.
Yeah, this is a big one. The Uber and Nvidia collaboration. We're not talking small pilot programs anymore. They announced a fleet of 100,000 robotaxis. This feels like the moment autonomy shifts from, limited tests in specific cities to a plan for genuine large-scale consumer service.
And the tech powering this, it's Nvidia again, right?
It is. Nvidia's Drive AGX Hyperion 10 platform. That's the in-vehicle computer doing the heavy lifting. It enables level 4 automation.
Well, before, meaning fully autonomous, but within defined geographic areas, correct? Not necessarily everywhere yet.
Exactly. Fully driverless within its operational design domain, as they call it. The sources say the rollout is planned to start in select cities beginning in 2027.
And how's it structured? Is Uber building cars now?
No, and that's the smart part, structurally. Uber is focusing on what they do best, running the network, the app, the whole ride-hailing service side. For the actual vehicles, they've partnered with established automakers. Stellantis, Mercedes-Benz, even Lucid Motors are mentioned as handling the manufacturing.
That makes sense. Distributed responsibility lets them scale much faster than trying to do it all themselves.
Precisely. It's probably the only way to roll out something this ambitious that quickly.
Okay, if 100,000 robotaxis is impressive scale, the next piece feels like it jumped right out of science fiction and into the home. The consumer humanoid robot. We saw the 1X company demo their robot, Neo.
Yes, Neo. It's about 5 foot 6 inches tall. And the demo wasn't just about flashy movement. It was focused squarely on utility, practical domestic tasks.
Things like folding a sweater, getting a glass of water. Those were mentioned.
Right. But the detail that really jumped out, the one that shows the level of sophistication.
Was it the fork? I saw that too. Sliding a single fork into the dishwasher's silverware holder?
Exactly. That's not just the simple pick and place. That requires quite sophisticated perception, identifying the dishwasher, the holder, the fork, plus really fine motor control and sequencing. Open the dishwasher, grasp the fork correctly, orient it, slide it in without dropping it or hitting the sides.
Yeah, that combination of seeing, understanding, and manipulating with that level of dexterity, that feels like the leap we haven't really seen consistently in a robot aimed at, potentially consumer prices down the line.
It felt less like a lab demo and more like a glimpse of a genuinely useful home assistant.
So the acceleration isn't just physical machines then. It's also fundamentally rewiring the tools that people use to create things, whether it's art or code. Adobe's big Max conference announcements seem to lean heavily into this.
Yeah, Adobe's strategy is pretty clever, actually. They seem to be positioning themselves not necessarily as the maker of the absolute best AI models, but as an essential open layer that sits on top of all the leading models, regardless of who built them.
Letting users access the best of breed from anywhere, but within the familiar Adobe workflow.
Exactly. So they announced integrations with models like Google's Gemini for text, Veo for video generation, Imagen for images, bringing them right into Photoshop, Express, their other tools. These are some of the most advanced generative models out there today.
And they're building their own AI features on top of that.
They are. Powerful AI assistants directly within Photoshop and Express were announced. Plus, they previewed a more advanced sort of agentic assistant they're calling Project Moonlight, which sounds like it can handle more complex, multi-step creative tasks.
Okay, but for professional artists and designers, the big deal often isn't just raw power, it's control and personalization, right? Maintaining their own style.
Absolutely. And Adobe addressed that directly. Their new Firefly Image Model 5 includes a feature called Prompt to Edit, which sounds like you can just describe the changes you want conversationally. But crucially, it also allows artists to create custom image models trained specifically on their own portfolio of work.
So you can generate stuff that actually looks like your style, not just generic AI output.
That's the goal. It allows creators to leverage AI speed without sacrificing their unique aesthetic. That's potentially huge for adoption.
Okay, shifting from visual creative tools to code. GitHub tackled a problem that's been brewing for developers. Just too many AI coding assistants.
Yeah, it's becoming a real headache, apparently. You've got GitHub's own Copilot based on Codex, Anthropic's Claude, maybe Devon AI, others. Developers are juggling multiple tools, trying to figure out which one is best for a given task.
So GitHub's solution is?
They're launching something called Agent HQ. Think of it as a central mission control dashboard available for Copilot subscribers.
Okay, what does mission control let you do?
The key thing is it lets developers run multiple different AI coding models in parallel on the same coding task. So you can give them all the same prompt, see the different code solutions they generate side by side, compare them, and then pick the best one.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about getting code faster, it's about improving the quality by basically getting several different AI opinions on the best way to solve the problem.
Exactly. It turns competition between models into a benefit for the developer. Pretty smart way to manage the proliferation.
And while we're on platforms, we can't forget YouTube. Huge user base. They pushed out some AI features too, focus more on the viewing experience and creator commerce.
All right, two main things stood out. First, an AI-powered upscaling feature. It automatically enhances lower resolution videos up to full HD when you're watching on a TV. Apparently 4K upscaling is planned too.
That's actually a pretty significant background improvement for millions of videos already on the platform. Makes older content look better without creators having to do anything.
Yeah, a nice quality of life bump. And then on the commerce side, they enabled creators to add QR codes directly into their tagged videos, linking straight to online stores or product pages.
Making that jump from watching a review or tutorial to actually buying the thing much more direct and seamless.
Yeah, smoothing the path from discovery to purchase.
Okay, so all these tech advancements, the powerful chips, the smarter software, the robots, they inevitably ripple out into the broader economy and society, right? And we saw some pretty direct evidence of AI's impact on the workforce just this week with Amazon.
I did. Amazon announced a significant corporate restructuring, cutting 14,000 jobs, primarily corporate roles.
14,000, that's a big number.
It is. And the sources explicitly noted that the CEO had previously linked upcoming workforce reductions directly to efficiency gains they were achieving through, well, AI and robotics.
So this isn't hypothetical anymore. The promised or perhaps feared efficiency of automation is translating into very real job displacement, even in white-collar roles.
It appears so. Streamlining operations, as they put it, seems to increasingly involve AI taking over certain tasks.
And the speed isn't just affecting jobs, it's affecting financial markets in almost real time. There was that Fed interest rate decision.
Right. The Fed trimmed rates again, just 25 basis points, bringing the target range to 3.75%, 4.00%. But what was fascinating was how the market reacted.
Not hours later with human analysts digesting the statement.
No, almost instantly. We saw large language model macro parsers, AIs trained specifically to read Fed speak and economic data, and these policy path models start repricing risk across everything. Foreign exchange, stocks, bond yields. Right. It was happening in minutes.
Minutes. Just think about that. The window for a human trader to read the statement, analyze it, decide on a strategy, and execute. It's basically evaporated for that initial reaction.
The machines parse and trade on the nuances almost before the Fed chair has finished speaking. It's a fundamental shift in market dynamics.
We also saw AI being credited for a business turnaround, didn't we? Starbucks.
Yeah, that was interesting. Starbucks had been in a sales slump for almost 2 years. They reported a return to growth, and they explicitly credited their use of AI for a lot of it.
Not just general AI, but specific applications.
Very specific. Things like fine-tuned demand forecasting models to predict customer traffic better, AI-driven staffing optimizers to match labor to that demand, and machine learning analyzing which promotions and menu tweaks actually boosted sales conversions.
So this shows it's not just about the giant frontier AI models we talked about with OpenAI. It's also established companies using very targeted machine learning systems to squeeze out efficiencies and drive real, measurable profit growth, turning the ship around, basically.
Exactly. Practical, applied AI delivering bottom-line results.
Okay, so with all this happening now, let's just briefly touch on the horizon. Sam Altman, OpenAI's CEO, gave an updated timeline projection that kind of puts all this current activity into perspective.
He did. He mentioned being on track for what he calls an intern-level research assistant, AI possibly by next year.
An AI that can do basic research tasks like a human intern.
Right. And then looking further out, aiming for a fully automated AI researcher by 2028.
A machine capable of conducting novel scientific research independently by 2028. That timeline, I mean, it really underscores why all that complex governance and safety work we discussed earlier with OpenAI and Microsoft, why it feels so urgent now, not like some distant sci-fi problem.
Absolutely. It frames this whole period as a sprint, with potentially transformative capabilities arriving much sooner than many people might have thought even a year or two ago.
Which brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. Amidst all this corporate and technological change, the very nature of information itself seems to be shifting under our feet.
Yeah, the source material mentioned this interesting launch. XAI, Elon Musk's company, released something called Grokipedia.
Grokipedia.
It's essentially an encyclopedia, but entirely AI-driven.
Yeah.
It launched with something like 800,000 articles generated by their Grok AI model. But here's the twist. Users can submit corrections or suggestions.
Okay, like Wikipedia.
Sort of, but the AI itself apparently makes the edits in near real time based on that human feedback and then incorporates that feedback into its ongoing generation process.
So hang on. This raises a pretty fundamental question for you listening. What does it actually mean for knowledge, for truth itself, when our basic reference material, the encyclopedia, isn't just written by an AI, but is constantly being edited by that same AI in response to immediate crowdsourced human feedback?
Is that the future? Knowledge as this fluid, instantly generated, constantly adapting entity. It's definitely a convergence of machine scale and human input, but it makes you wonder about stability, about consensus reality.
Yeah. Is it the ultimate real-time truth engine or something else? Definitely something to think about.
For sure.
We've covered a lot today. Nvidia's $5 trillion peak, OpenAI's intricate restructuring, robotaxis and humanoids stepping into the physical world, new tools changing creative work, and the immediate economic ripples. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into a truly remarkable 24 hours in AI.
That wraps up today's daily AI rundown. The defining theme this week is scale and strategic risk. We saw the market formally recognize the new AI reality, with Nvidia becoming the first $5 trillion company, a direct reflection of the compute requirements for the global AI build-out. This scaling is translating immediately into real-world systems, exemplified by Uber and Nvidia building that 100,000-unit robotaxi fleet, while companies like OpenAI are refining their corporate governance to match their global impact. Financially, AI is now the growth engine. Alphabet topped $100 billion for the first time, fueled by AI-driven cloud and ad optimization. We also saw AI models instantly repricing global risk when the Fed cut rates, showing how LLM macro parsers are now essential tools on trading desks. Whether it's the first consumer humanoid robot or GitHub launching its Agent Hub, every headline confirms that the AI platform shift is here. If you are currently executing this platform shift within your enterprise, then this is the moment for our message. Stop marketing to the general public. Talk to enterprise AI builders. Your platform solves the hardest challenge in tech, getting secure, compliant AI into production at scale. You need to reach the right 1%, the CTOs, VPs of engineering, and MLOps heads who need production-ready solutions like yours. We have reserved a limited number of mid-roll ad spots for companies focused on high-stakes, governed AI infrastructure. This is not spray-and-pray advertising. It is a direct line to your most valuable buyers. Secure your mid-roll spot here. Link in show notes. If this daily analysis helps you lead your organization, please take a moment right now and like and subscribe to AI Unraveled on Apple Podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow to unravel the next chapter in AI.